Privacy has been important to people ever since there was a threat of intrusion. While there are many things people enjoy sharing, others are kept well hidden. Now that the human genome has been sequenced, new doors have been opened. Many things concerning privacy must be considered. Should researchers have the right to patent a gene? Should all individual genetic information be handed over to employers or insurance companies? Should the government regulate the actions of businesses toward genetic predispositions? The answers to these questions are important to moving forward. An issue perhaps more personal than that of gene patenting is individual disclosure of genetic predispositions. With the rise of availability of genetic testing, many people are worried that their genes might cause them problems apart from those that they code for. Fear of discrimination because of genes has appeared. Affected individuals might lose their jobs or have to pay much more to get insurance. There have been reports of layoffs after testing for cancer and other diseases with genetic causes or factors, such as Huntington's. Although cases of genetic discrimination are now uncommon, it is the fear of this possibility which causes problems. Some people are afraid to take a genetic test, in case the results mean that insurance will be more difficult to obtain. Because of this, they remain unaware if they have a serious condition. Even for those who do not avoid genetic testing altogether, the fear of genetic discrimination can cause problems. After finding out they do have a predisposition, some people do not talk to their doctors in order to avoid higher insurance rates. Some take treatment into their own hands. For example, one woman's condition required that a unit of blood be removed for weekly treatment. She became a blood donor rather than to tell her doctor. Unfortunately, not everyone's condition has such a simple treatment. The fear of genetic testing is also detrimental to genetic research. With fewer people volunteering to reveal their genome, there is much less data available for genetic studies. If fear of discrimination continues, it will be difficult to move forward in this new frontier. The problems caused by fear of discrimination have been noted, and it is these consequences that have prompted legislative action rather than widespread cases of genetic discrimination. In 2008, the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act was signed into law by former President George W. Bush. This act disallows genetic discrimination by public health insurance providers and employers. It does not limit private companies from raising prices or withholding insurance. It is important that the companies have some control over what they offer. However, it must be considered that every human has a defect of some kind in their DNA. Actions we take now concerning the issue of genetic privacy will be important in the future.
Since the mapping of the human genome, science has made huge advancements in detecting and treating inherited conditions. By detecting certain mutations in genes that would indicate a predisposed risk of getting a disease, doctors can take preemptive measures. However, with patents, these genes are property of biotech companies. Over 20% of your genome has been patented by a researcher or company. Being able to patent genes sequenced by biotech companies creates a considerable controversy. Some people find the ability to patent something inside individuals that is a natural and essential component to life is absurd. When you think of patents, you think of inventions, and many people have issues with gene patents. When the polio vaccine was developed, Jonas Salk said, quote, that there is no patent. Would you try to patent the sun? Gene patents started in 1980 when the Supreme Court ruled that a life form, like the genetically altered bacterium used to clean up oil spills, could be patented. After, biotech companies went further to try patenting another life form, like human genes. Several years ago, Myriad Genetics found that if there's a mutation in a certain gene the risk of getting breast cancer and/or ovarian cancer is extremely high, with ovarian cancer being 40 times more likely. With a positive test result for mutations, patients usually end up having to remove their ovaries to prevent cancer from developing. Since Myriad has a patent on these genes, they are the only ones who can perform the diagnostic test, giving them a monopolistic advantage. They have the power not to accept certain insurance companies, and if they don't accept yours, you can't get tested unless you come up with another way to pay for the high cost. No other lab can test for mutations, and for a diagnosis that leads to irreversible results, like the removal of one's ovaries, a second opinion would be more comforting. No other lab can research these genes or develop potential therapies. The patent holder owns all research or treatment developed from research done on their patented gene. As such, it is argued that gene patents inhibit research and prevents developing better detection procedures. Others argue how important biotech companies are, and without them there would be no developments in improving health in the first place. Researching takes on a huge financial risk, and without the promise of a large payoff, biotech companies would be less inclined to take these risks and expand research. The high cost of gene tests factors in the time and effort people spent on researching those genes. There has to be the prospect of profit for an investor to invest. Also, by receiving monetary rewards, biotech companies gain funds to pursue further research, benefiting the public with the possibilities of new discoveries. The American Civil Liberties Union sought to invalidate and discontinue patents of all naturally occurring genes, and just last March, a decision was made by a U.S. District Court to ban gene patents. The judge ruled that genes are unpatentable products of nature. However, many biotech companies like Myriad are filing an appeal to the decision. Decisions on gene patents will continue to greatly impact scientific research, medical costs, and bio company profits and investments.